What does it mean to be successful at dating? It's actually really funny because, I don't think I've ever really thought about it in depth as recently as much as I recently have. But I've seen a lot of people, especially a lot of people on social media, talk about, oh, he's successful at dating. Like he gets all these girls. I'm like, but he's been dating for like 12 years. So reality, that actually, it slapped me in the face recently when I realized there are two versions to being successful at dating, right? And most people, especially on social media, only talk about one. When they say successful at dating, they're talking about having access to a pool of people, whether you're a man or woman, having options, having, hey, being able to go out on a different date every other week, every other month, whatever. Like, you have people that want to, go out with you, figure out who you are, learn together, and that's great. Personally, though, I never found that to be successful at dating. I just considered it having options, right? There are people, in my opinion, if you want to consider be successful at dating with intention. For example, you go out with a woman or you go out with a man, whoever you are, and you start building trust, you start building connection, you start building longevity, right? And now, boom, you're engaged or you're at least forging a life partnership together. But why do we often talk about successful at dating as just people having options? And it came to my thought process that, like, many people don't have options, right? So are you really successful at dating just because you're able to get a date and not build a relationship from it? You know what I mean? And I'm not trying to throw my relationship with my better half in anyone's face. It's just a thought process, something I feel like we as a community need to talk about, right? So many people are dating for fun, and I mean, that's cool, I guess, based on your intention. But does the other person know that? While you're dating for fun and this other person is trying to date for a relationship, are you successful? They're going to see you as a narcissist. They're going to see you as a player. They're going to see you as a waste of time. And you were, man, like, oh, I have fun with this person for a little bit. Let me try somebody else, right? And I think that's one of the biggest discrepancies in our dating community, right? A lot of people aren't honest about their intention. Oh, what are you looking for? Oh, I'm just looking for someone I vibe with. But for how long? Right? When you say I'm looking for someone I vibe with, are you trying to vibe with me for the rest of my life? You trying to vibe with me for the next few months until you vibe with someone else? Like, what are you trying to vibe with? You know what I mean? So that's it's a lot. It gives a lot to think about, and I feel like, as a man, I feel like that's why a lot of people are pulling away, especially men pulling away from relationships. Because I see a lot of my friends who used to go on a lot of dates in their 20s. Now that they're in their 30s, some of them close to their 40s or already in their 40s, they're like, if I meet someone, I meet someone, but I'm just gonna stay at home for the rest of my life, right? Especially now that since they're older, they're a lot less tolerant. I was just talking to a buddy of mine on Friday, which is what sparked this video. And he's like, man, I was going out with this girl. I was there her to build a relationship. And she wanted me to change so many things about myself. And I realized she liked my career, she liked what I could do for her, but she didn't really like me. And so he ended the relationship, and she couldn't believe he ended the relationship. He was just like, nah, I'm not doing this anymore. I'd rather go home and play video games. He wasn't broke. He wasn't unsuccessful, as you would say, but he was a lot less tolerant in saying, you're not trying to build something with me. Right? And then that's another thing. At a certain point, when you try to build something with people, realize a lot of people aren't going to change. And he says, listen, it's not that it's not that I won't compromise, but I'm not trying to change who I am. Like, the man is 40 something years old. Anyway, back to the point. Like, there are too many people out there not sharing their intentions when they're, dating someone, and it causes a lot of confusion. It causes a lot of heartbreak, and this is why people go out and say the other gender ain't nothing. They ain't. They're crap. They're a waste of space. They're a piece of work. But the reality of it is, the people you want, the people you desire, the people you find attractive, quite often don't have the same intent as you. You may think they do based on their words, but not their actions. And I guess on a first date, you can't always tell someone's actions, right? That's why people end up getting ghosted. Why people end up getting ignored, and sometimes people just aren't ready. I can tell you right now that the relationship I'm in, if I started it in my 20s, I don't know if I'd have been ready for it. Just because I wasn't like mentally competent on what type of relationship I should be building. I wasn't intentional. I was just dating for the sake of, I want a girlfriend, I want to get married, I want to have a couple kids. And those are nice goals, but that's not how a real relationship should be getting built. What do I want in a partner? How am I going to serve this partner? How is she going to serve me? Quite often, we have expectations on how we want people to serve us, but we don't think about what we're going to do for them. Right? Anyway, I'm going to leave you with that instead of ranting on. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and thanks for watching.